Alright, so welcome to the official YouTube channel of the John Report. Today we're going to be talking about the Elimination Chamber match that's coming up. With me, as always, is Classy John Canton.
And you're David K. You forgot to tell them your name.
Yeah, they know who I am.
For the preview, David K. writes the previews with me, and we're sticking this video, this audio at the bottom of the preview, so hopefully it's a good addition to that. We'll see how it goes, and we'll keep doing it every month, hopefully.
Yep, and make sure to keep checking out these videos. We're going to have them over at the YouTube channel, which is officially youtube.com/thejohnreportnet. So first off, we're going to talk about the Miz Lawler match. Obviously, Lawler wasn't there on Monday to promote the match, but what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I mean, obviously Miz has to go over. There's no way you're putting the title on Jay Lawler going into WrestleMania. I think it's kind of cool that they want to put Lawler in a WrestleMania match. Why not? It'll be a good nostalgia moment. And whether they could probably do him against Alex Riley or something, or maybe stick him in a tag match. And if they want to put Michael Cole in a match kind of thing, just to have Lawler get his fist punch him in the face kind of thing, that'd be kind of a cool moment. I think Cole's been built up really well as a heel, so they could be building to that. But as a match, I mean, you just have to put Miz over, obviously. And it should be in dominant fashion, but I'm worried that they're going to have him cheat like usual.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why they have him in there exactly. It just confuses me. This is a Raw match at best. Maybe it's because they don't really know where they're going with it. I just don't like Lawler on pay-per-view for something when you know it's not going to happen. And if it does happen, you're going to be angry. It's just a mix of nothing good. I see nothing good coming out of this match. Even if Miz dominates here without cheating and destroys him in a minute and a half, it's already pissed me off. So I really don't understand the move. But
this is your guy going into the WrestleMania main event, and he's wrestling a 61-year-old man that's a part-timer that's already beat him, and that he had to cheat to win. Like, the ladder match was really good, but I mean, you already did a ladder match. Now you're going backwards and having a regular match? Why? Because you have nobody else? And that's kind of my issue. Like, where's Daniel Bryan?
Daniel Bryan, who's that guy?
Yeah, I mean, we just saw the match they had on Monday, which I rated, I think, 3 stars, and it was like 12, 13-minute match. Daniel Bryan had his working boots on. Did you see how good he was just flying all over the place, showing athleticism, made Miz look like $1 million. That was his whole point. Get your best work out there, put over the champion clean on TV, and that was great. But I would rather see that on pay-per-view, because if you theoretically want me to pay my money, give me the match I want to see, and I want to see that. And they got a whole backstory from Miz as the trainer, and Daniel Bryan beat him for the U.S. title, which you saw live, right, Dave?
Yep.
Night of Champions. Great match. Great. And one of the top 5-10 matches of last year. And you know the chemistry's good, and they have the story of the Miz was the guy that trained him on NXT, lost the belt to him, and now Miz is the top guy, so why can't Daniel Bryan get another title shot?
Like,
and I'd be okay why have the belt on Daniel Bryan if he's not going to defend it?
Exactly. I'd be okay with like an Alex Riley, Daniel Bryan thing, like, the mentor doesn't know which one to choose. Oh, of course he's going to choose Riley. They kind of battle it out, and then in the end, Miz shakes Bryan's hand for being a worthy competitor, or something like that. Isn't it sad that what we've seen of Daniel Bryan over the past month and a half is him lead the Bellas into a feud? I mean, they're in more of a feud than he is.
Yeah, it's a shame. They want to add more character to him, so they stick him with the Bellas and that kind of nerdy love angle kind of thing. But it didn't really work well. I'm sorry. He's a wrestler. Let him wrestle. Build on his strength. Don't focus on his weakness, which is just acting and things like that. Just put over his work. Listen to the crowd when he's wrestling. They love him. They love his work ethic because he's nonstop. He keeps going and going and going. He's just the epitome of what a good worker is. So you need more guys like him in the forefront, higher up of the card.
Do you think they add him last minute?
No.
You don't think he gets in?
I mean, I'd like it, but I think Lawler, it'd actually be cool, because then, Lawler could pin him and that kind of thing, and it's kind of like that whole story would be kind of cool. But I don't think they'll do it. I think they're just going to have Miz go over Lawler. Hopefully clean, but I'm sure Cole will interfere or something.
So, then we'll go on to our second match then. Next match is the Elimination Chamber with all the SmackDown guys vying for the title, if I remember correctly. But the confusing part for me right now is who the hell's got the title and why should we care?
Yeah, we should point out we're doing this Tuesday night as the tapings are going on now, so we don't know the results yet. So, but we know the 6 guys in the match are, let's see, Edge, Dolph Ziggler, Kane, Drew McIntyre, Rey Mysterio, and Wade Barrett. So we got 2 baby faces and 4 heels. I guess Kane's a heel. He'll probably turn next week. Who knows? It's Kane, right? And so, maybe Dolph's a champ, but maybe Edge is a champ. We don't really know.
And
With
do we
Alberto
care?
Del Rio being the #1 contender, all signs are pointing to Edge, leaving the match as champion. So they're kind of doing the whole stack the deck against him. Vicky's trying to be against him, and there's 4 heels in the match. So it'll be kind of like the veteran babyface overcoming the heels. I think that's the story they're going with.
And I think we have to say that we are recording this before we actually go through our preview. So if you've already read this and got to this point, we kind of are repeating ourselves. We do apologize. But one of the things that I see really coming out of this match is obviously there's a lot of questions about who has the belt. I see that not getting answered after Sunday, and I see somehow this ended up being a triple threat match. I think Del Rio really doesn't have a star power by himself to hold Del Rio versus Edge match as far as the company's concerned. So why not add Dolph Ziggler, have WrestleMania be a triple threat match, which we know that, in the past the WWE has liked to get guys over, especially new guys, to the title scene. So I think Sunday we don't get any answers. I think somehow Edge wins, but Vicky comes out and says you still never had the title to begin with, or the other way around where Dolph walks out and somehow Edge gets somebody to say I never lost a title, etc., etc.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. I'm not a huge triple threat guy. I say that all the time. I like one-on-one, especially at WrestleMania, but we all kind of know there are other bigger matches at WrestleMania, so it's not bad if you want to stick a triple threat match on there, and maybe you do the switch at WrestleMania with Del Rio winning the belt. So, and then you do the rematch with Edge saying I didn't get pinned, Dolph got pinned. And I think Vicky's a character that's very strong, and she probably deserves to be in the WrestleMania main event, to be honest. The way she draws heel heat, so I wouldn't mind it. I don't know. I think Edge is likely to walk out as champion, though.
Who do you think can draw more heat right now, Vicky or Michael Cole?
I think Vicky's still ahead, but Cole's very close. Like, wow, it's incredible how the non-wrestling characters can get over, and here's a company that doesn't like managers. Think about that for a second.
Isn't that sad that the 2 top heels right now
are up there? Yeah,
are announcers and an announcer and a GM who's not really a GM, an acting GM. I mean, I'd like to say that Miz is over as a heel, but I don't think he comes anywhere close to Vicky.
And Vince has this thing where he's apparently strongly against managers right now. But you look in the history of wrestling, and Bobby Heenan, Jim Cornette, Mr. Fuji, all these characters are very important to the history of wrestling, and they helped get their characters over. And yet they don't have them strictly managers anymore. Vicky's more, she kind of is a manager, but they stick in the authority position too. So,
but I'd love to say that they haven't tried managers, but you got to remember they have. I mean, Vicky was around. Tony Atlas has been around. I mean, they're putting Maurice in that role. There are managers. They just suck. I mean, none of them are talking. They don't get mic time. They're just glorified mat bangers right now. Let's see how many times I can hit the mat and scream, and that's what the manager role is. It's like they need to bring in Jimmy Hart and have him do a class on, how to hold a megaphone and get in people's faces.
Exactly. Like Bobby Heenan got characters over like huge. Like, who's the best at it?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree.
It should be a decent match. So I think in terms of quality, I like the workers that are in it. Ray should probably carry a lot of it, and it's not gonna be as good as the Raw one though.
Well, speaking of the Raw one, we'll talk about that next. Who do you think walks out, and why should we care? Because I think we pretty much know that answer, but the second half of that is a little more important.
What bugs me is here you had the Royal Rumble, and you go into the match and you say this is John Cena's chance. He's gonna headline WrestleMania. He wins this match. Okay, well he didn't win that match. Then you had the Raw Rumble the next night. This is John Cena's chance. He wins this match. He goes and gets the title shot at Elimination Chamber. But if he loses, he gets to be in an Elimination Chamber match and gets another chance to go to WrestleMania. So it's like, don't the fans look at the guy as a loser kind of thing? You know what I mean? Like, he's already lost twice. And one time was to the 61-year-old Jerry Lawler who outsmarted him and eliminated him. So it just bothers me that, he's going to be main eventing even though he lost these two other matches. I don't know.
Well, I don't understand any of it. I mean, when was the last time they built a character to be
What's
strong?
the point of...
Any of them. Pick a character out of all of them other than possibly Randy Orton. I'll give Randy Orton as somewhat of a strong built character because he can pull an RKO out of anywhere, and they've built that up probably the best, the best move at least out of any move out there. But I can't name a character that's gotten over because they've built him up. I mean, you look at Sheamus. Sheamus wins King of the Ring, gets destroyed after that. I mean, what has Del Rio done since Royal Rumble to really put his mark on everything? I mean, he put Edge in the armbar, but you know.
I think CM Punk's done really well. And they've really gone behind him and they've really elevated him. But the Cena feud is already not fresh because they've already done 3 matches in like 6 weeks. And in the Rumble, he was one of the biggest stars. But then since then, like 2 weeks ago on Raw, he was the guy that took out everybody on the show. So I think they could do something where everybody. Where he's the 6th guy and everybody kind of beats shit out of him together because they all hate him. I think that'd be kind of a cool moment. And then Orton pins him at the end to set up their match at WrestleMania. But as far as elevating guys and stuff, it's not. Like Cena's going to be in the main event of WrestleMania for what, the 7th straight WrestleMania?
Well,
where he's in a world title match?
That's the Hogan theory, right? Hogan WrestleMania.
It's even more.
Nah, he was in 8 straight, wasn't he?
But there's also 2 titles, so it's better odds.
Right, so I mean, you can't hold it against him, but you can, so we will. All right, so
Yeah.
we've talked about 3 matches, and we are all the way through all of the advertised events. Why are we only getting 3 matches as of Tuesday? Why is it that we're only, we've got a couple Elimination Chamber matches, a world title match, and that's it? Well, I mean, what do you think we're expecting this weekend?
I think they'll probably, like we said, we're taping this Tuesday night, so maybe they'll add Del Rio versus Kofi, but they already did that on SmackDown, and Del Rio went clean, so it's like, what's the point? And then there's no Daniel Bryan. Like, why do you have these belts on Kofi and Daniel Bryan if they never defend them on pay-per-view? It just bothers me. And there's a lot of other good workers on the roster. Like, stick them in matches. Yeah, I mean, it's not that hard.
There's, 4 titles? Well, 4.5. If
tag belts are a joke.
I mean, the tag belts, the Divas title, the U.S. title, the Intercontinental title, none of these are being defended as of right now. 5 titles. I'm sorry. You're not even getting a World Heavyweight title match. I mean, I guess you're the Chamber, but I mean, I'm just saying it's more who's going to WrestleMania rather than who's going to be holding the title, in my opinion. It's just it bothers me. The whole thing bothers me.
I think in past years they did better at this pay-per-view. I don't think this year's that good. And then the fact that we just saw that guy named The Rock on Raw on Monday, I think everyone's kind of like, okay, when's WrestleMania? There's a pay-per-view on Sunday? Who cares? Let's get to WrestleMania.
Which is unfortunate because, like you've seen a whole bunch of times on your wall, everyone said how great the show was up until The Rock was there. Everyone was saying it was still an 8.5, 9 show building up Elimination Chamber up until you heard that initial sound,
Exactly. It was a good show. There was good wrestling, but it doesn't mean we're excited about the pay-per-view because we kind of know what's going to happen, I think. So that's the problem.
So if you could add a match, who are you adding and why?
Triple H versus Undertaker. No.
The 21st?
I would just put Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston and just say, go have a good match. You don't even need a story. Here's your secondary title holders and just say, here's a special attraction match. But I don't think that's going to happen because they're both baby faces. They could probably do Daniel Bryan versus DiBiase again. They've had a good match on NXT a couple weeks ago, I remember. But I don't know. There's no storyline going in. Maybe they'll do the core guys against Santino and Kozlov. Or the Nexus guys against Santino and Kozlov, but other than that, I don't really see much happening.
All right, well, we're approaching our 15-minute limit here, so I'll do our plugs. We'll make sure to follow us both over at John Report and over at Dave the Awesome.
And the JohnReport.net, of course.
Of course. You can go follow us at the
We'll have all the links up there.
We'll have all the links, of course. You'll see them right now. On top of that, make sure you follow the YouTube page by subscribing, youtube.com/thejohnreportnet. And thanks for listening.